Hey everyone, Coty here. And before we get into the final episode of the Unnamed Marriage Podcast, I want to give you a quick update about the video you're going to watch. So Amanda and I have tried out a few different locations, and in this last iteration, we actually had a good setup. We had a good, good lighting, good everything, except the camera was a little on the low side. So going into this video, just know it's not a great angle. It kind of cuts off the top of my head and squishes hers. But I think that the video overall is pretty good. The audio is pretty decent. We got some new mics. I think the message in it is pretty good. So I think that the videos, you're still going to enjoy the video going into it. But just know that the camera is a little off. We're hoping to get it hammered out by the next episode when we actually start our real marriage podcast. I don't want to announce the name yet because we'll probably talk about it in the next video. So that's kind of my teaser to get you to come back. But that's it for now. Let's jump into the video, and I'll see you in it with my wife.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Coty. We're back.
Do it again.
Coty. Welcome back to episode 3, I think.
We said we're not numbering them. 32. Just kidding.
The episode after the last one?
Yeah.
Of the Unnamed Marriage Podcast.
Unnamed.
Trademark pending.
Trademark?
It's probably taken. Don't take it, please.
Please don't steal our ideas.
So today we're just looking at some questions related to marriage because we're still getting a structure together. But that's okay. We'll
First,
figure it out.
I just want to ask, how are you doing?
Doing good.
Okay.
Felt a lot better after I sold 10 books today.
That was amazing.
Very exciting.
Yeah, that was super exciting for you.
If you don't know How to Pray Out Loud, it's on Amazon. Link in the description.
Plug that book.
It's a good book.
Can you do the whole, put an image right here of it?
Oh, on one of our hands. Sure. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I feel like I've been reading my Bible, but I feel like I'm not reading it. I don't know how to explain it. I'm
reading
struggling
it to read it.
Yeah. To get into, my brain is reading. I have too many books going again.
Yeah.
So
that's understandable.
Well, I'm really enjoying the one book I'm reading.
Which one?
Eugene Peterson has a book called Eat This Book. And it's about reading scripture.
Yeah.
And so I've really been enjoying that book. Well, I forgot it at work. And so during my time that I would have had to read it, I didn't have it. So I started reading The Problem of Pain, or The Problem with Pain. I don't remember what it's called, but it's by C.S. Lewis.
Oh, okay.
And I struggle to read C.S. Lewis. So I'm like...
You don't like his work, or it's just his style?
I just feel dumb reading his words.
Really?
Yes. I had to look words up, and I'm just like, do I just not understand his writing? And do I just need to take a break and just read something fun for a little bit? Because I've been feeding myself so much that... I
think you can come to a point where there's an exhaustion of reading too much Christ-centered stuff. It's not that we shouldn't desire that. I think that we should always desire it. But I think there is something to be said about a fatigue that happens with just reading only Christian stuff. And I'm not saying we should move on to secular things, but just consuming so much of it, trying to always be in it is tough. And I think sometimes you have to just mentally decompress and do something that isn't necessarily secular, but it isn't heavily Christ focused, just to kind of almost make you want to come back to it after a little while, because then you're like, oh, I missed this and I need this, and then you kind of go back to it because you desire it. The Bible is tough sometimes. I commend people who read it every single...
I love reading the Bible.
The Bible can be dry,
I said C.S. Lewis. That was...
Okay, well, some of the writings in the Bible are C.S. Lewis times 10. So,
What version are you reading?
It's usually NIV.
Yeah, no, I'm saying if you're in King James, I get that's hard to read.
King James is more fun. Thee and thou and thine and
thine and mine. Anyways, a fun thing that I heard today was I was listening to James and David talking, and James recommended a book to David, and it was The Road.
Oh, really?
Yes. And
By Cormac McCarthy.
Yes, and the only reason I knew what book that was, I was like, that's my husband's favorite book.
It's one of them. Yeah. He is a phenomenal writer. I don't know if I like all of his work because he's got some strange stories, especially his older stuff. But the writing style, like the prose, is phenomenal. Like, it's very unique. So that's what I really respect about him. He's just very authentic in the writing itself. So.
But thanks to you, I knew what that book was.
Nice.
Because I had no idea what that book was before. So.
I was going to say, the plan that we're doing, it's like the devotional thing.
The devotional. Are you...
It's like reading, this small section, and I'm like, okay, I'm not really getting anything out of it because it's only a few verses. But I will say that today's was good.
Yeah?
About how, that Christ,
Is that why you're being the way you're being tonight?
I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I love you.
No, I love that.
My bad.
Sorry.
I'll stop.
Please don't. I love it. It's great.
I love it. I don't care.
I almost wish that I would have invited the spouses of the other two people that I invited to read the devotional with us. Because I think it would have been something good for them to do with their spouses also. But I'm glad that you're doing the devotional and answering the questions.
Well, what I was going to say was that today's set of verses was Jesus' greatest two commandments. To love God with all your heart, your soul, and your mind, and then also to love your neighbor as yourself. And maybe we've heard that in the context of marriage, but just saying it as a reminder, I think, was really good. Like, okay, yeah, like, we should love God above all else, and that our spouse is like the next thing. And if we love our spouse as we love ourselves, we would go out of our way to do the things for our spouse that we would do for ourselves in general, right? Like, our flesh wants us to satiate our own selfish desires. But in the context of that, like, oh, okay, yeah, I mean, I love you as I love myself. So, yeah, it's good. It's good.
I had been thinking about that verse for a while because I was like, but what if you don't love yourself? Like, how do you move past that? Like, how do I love others if I don't feel like I love myself? So I love that they touched on that in there when they were like, but you get up every morning and you do this for yourself and you do this for yourself. That's you. Oh, yeah. Loving yourself. And I was like, oh.
Because you make a bunch of micro choices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you subconsciously take care of yourself. And I mean, I don't know. It was just interesting.
Yeah, it was an interesting point. Like, because in the devotional that we're reading, they were talking about, like, what you said, like, oh, you get up and you make yourself coffee. You get up and you choose your own clothes. You choose your own route to work. You make a lot of little choices that are in your best interest. So if you just kind of flip that and think, well, how can I do this for my spouse? It does kind of, oh, yeah, I guess it is. Sometimes it is just the sum of the parts. It's the small pieces kind of adding up together to show your spouse that you love them. It doesn't have to be grand gestures all the time. And we probably gravitate towards it. Oh, I need to, like, go on more dates, or I need to give them more gifts, or whatever. It's like, it's small things, like you making me coffee in the morning.
I was just gonna say, your coffee in the morning is like a huge thing, and there's days where if I forget to push the button,
it alters my day. And it's not that I'm like, oh great, my day's ruined, but I love it so much that I put in that song in our vow renewal.
You did.
I didn't tell that guy to write it like 14 times. That was his choice. All right, that was a custom song. I gave him creative license. I just told him that I appreciate that you make me coffee, and he chose to run with it. So,
I love it though. But also your socks, like, and this is so funny. It's our laundry in general, like, because I know that I have a routine in doing laundry, and it's one of the things that I do on my Sabbath when I relax, because I don't really care to do laundry, but I know that that's like something you appreciate that I do for you.
Sure.
And so I didn't realize your sock drawer had gotten empty.
Yeah.
And when you pointed it out, I was like, oh, he does care that I fold his socks. Because my mind was like,
care.
No, he could fold them himself.
Well, I can. And to your credit, I mean, yes, I could do it. I think I had grown used to it.
Yep.
So when you didn't do it, it did mean something to me because I
Aw.
was like, well, darn.
I'm sorry.
Shucks.
So, yeah, I just wanted to see how you were doing. And
Yeah.
are you reading anything good right now?
No, I haven't been really reading because I've been watching videos about how to set all the camera stuff up. So
so you're
hopefully the
learning.
cameras are running and we can figure this out. I'm hoping the setup looks a little better. We're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
Aren't we all?
So I have a couple questions for you tonight.
Yeah.
I have 3 total, but we don't have to do all of them. And I know I don't know if we've done this one in a video yet.
Okay.
How do you balance individual spiritual growth with growing together spiritually as a couple?
Yeah, I don't know if we did. We talked about it. I don't know. It's okay. We can cover it again.
Okay.
So say it one more time.
How do you balance individual spiritual growth with growing together spiritually as a couple? See, I cannot remember if we talked about this.
Yeah, we talked about it. I don't know if we put it in the videos because we had talked about growing individually. So you should, obviously there's a lot of tenets of Christendom that we should kind of do, like the daily practices.
Yeah.
So, praying and reading the Bible.
Disciplines.
Yeah, there you go. So doing that stuff, I think for me, the biggest thing is prayer. I mean, obviously, big prayer guy. How to Pray Out Loud on Amazon. But for me, that's like my big thing is just praying to God, like just throughout the day, just God, thank you. Like, as frustrating as things can be, like I'm very grateful for everything that God has done for us. And so for me, the biggest thing that helps kind of keep me centered with God is prayer, because I've been in those prideful moments where I was relying on myself, and every time I get prideful and rely on myself, things start to fall apart. So I have to be like grounded, like, God, thank you. Like, it's all you. It's not me. It's all you. So that's how I try to stay grounded personally. But then the together is praying together. So praying in the morning, even though it's so simple, and I think maybe it's kind of become routine because we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
If we don't do it, it makes a difference. So it's like, it's the same thing with the socks. I think that's a great segue, because like when we don't do it, it makes a difference, especially on the weekdays, because sometimes on the weekends, maybe we don't because our schedule's like off. But on the weekdays, if we don't pray before I go to work, like it affects the day. So for me, that's like a big thing for me.
What was it you said in the devotional? You're going for baseball stats?
Oh,
I didn't
above 50.
understand that because I don't get baseball.
Yeah.
But my friend laughed at it because she understood it, and I was just like, I don't know what he's talking
I'm not
about.
like a huge baseball guy, but I just know above 50 is good. Anyway, what about you?
I love that. Intentionality. So like my personal spiritual growth, I have to be intentional with what I'm doing, with my disciplines, with reading the Bible, study, being in prayer. I love worship. So being in worship with God is like one of I don't even know how to explain it. Like, I will just throw worship music on all day just to be like more in the presence. That might not even be a good way to explain it, but anyways, sure. But being intentional with that time instead of just wasting my time. And then together is being intentional with our time together. So if we're, talking about things spiritually, if we're reading our Bibles together, one of the things that I love that we did last year was the Psalms, not Proverbs, sorry. When we were reading a psalm a day together, I missed that.
It was Proverbs.
Was it Proverbs? No, it wasn't.
No, it was Psalms. You're right. You're right.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Like, that was, I almost texted you this morning and asked you what you were reading today just so I could read it with you.
Well, I just got into 2 Corinthians, so if you want to read that together.
I have a video to share with you later about that, because and now I can't remember what it was. Did I save it? I don't think I saved it. It may have been a book. I don't know.
Okay.
A lot of things came before my face today. I don't know what it was.
It was a piece of paper.
It was
a Facebook
probably.
post.
Somebody probably just wrote 2 Corinthians, and I was like, Coty, that's
all right.
That's not right. But being intentional with our time like that, and the Psalms thing helped me. I liked being able to know what you were reading and read it with you, and then discuss those things. So that was, I think that helped us grow a little closer last year. So that was it for me.
Sick.
And then I love praying together, and you know that. So, all right, you ready for the next one, or do you have anything else for that?
No, I think it's good to have those things that you both kind of do together. I think in our last video we talked about serving together.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just having something. So like, obviously it's good to do all that stuff together, but different times call for different things, I think. And what you guys do together may not be the thing that you do individually. Like the worship music. You listen to worship music all the time. I don't listen to a lot of music. So for me, I don't get the same effect. But for me, that's praying.
Yeah.
So, but then we kind of do it together. Like we'll do worship together, like when we're, doing Bible study with kids, or when we're here at church. And then we'll also pray together. And it's like, so, we have our things that we do together. Like you said, reading the Bible together is probably a good kind of middle ground, because then we're both holding each other accountable in reading the Bible. And even if it's one chapter a day, it's like, okay, you got your reading in, and you can check in with the other person and be like, hey, what did you read, or what did you get out of it? So I think
did you read it today?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, you ready for the next one?
Let's mosey.
How do we both stay connected to God and each other during busy or difficult times, and why is this important for our marriage?
So I think I'll answer the second part first. I think it's important to be able to work through that stuff and work together on it. Because if you don't, it's easy to be on the same page about stuff when things are easy. But really the challenges is what forges the marriage, to me. So working through that to be on the same page is how you become stronger. I think I kind of answered it, maybe not in the right way.
No, you're fine. Here, I'll give you this one so you can reread it.
Sure, thank you.
Because I have it on a pink card.
Yeah, because I lost it as you told it to me.
I'm sorry.
I feel like Michael Scott trying to
I
don't
just
forever
start a
any reason.
And see where it goes.
Don't ever with anyone ever for any reason
do
whatsoever.
anything.
Yeah. So I think that. Oh, it was because that's right. I was answering the second part. Why is this so important? Because it forges the marriage. But how do we do that? How do we stay connected to God and each other?
During busy or difficult times. Let's cover busy times first. I want to cover difficult times separate.
Go ahead.
So during busy times, how do you ensure that you are getting time with God and getting time with me and at the same time? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I hope that question makes sense. So
I think it comes down to a big thing that we've talked about before: intentionality. So being intentional.
Intentional.
Ooh,
I like that word.
Intentionable. I'm going to use it.
That's my new word.
That's also submitted to Random House Dictionary now. Trademark, please don't take. That's like Birth and Tinasary, and Birth and Tinasary is actually in Urban Dictionary. Not the cleanest dictionary, but it's in there. I submitted it. You're welcome. Sorry.
In the description, you're going to have to explain what Birth and Tinasary is so people don't.
Why don't you tell them?
It's my birthday, Valentine's Day, and anniversary because it's all on one day. And
no, I don't get out of it. I have to do 3 separpt things.
He does.
Because I love her.
He makes it so special every year.
We have to make sure that we put on airs because it's on camera. Just kidding.
That's not... I feel bad because I never do anything for anniversary.
That's fine.
You okay?
All right. Well, you married me, so that's
okay.
good.
Staying connected during busy times.
Yeah, so being intentional.
Okay.
So like scheduling out like our dates or having things that we are set to do together.
Yeah.
Like this. Like, we're breaking away from the kids. We're doing this together, so it's like this is the time that we get together.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's dates, sometimes it's just projects or whatever. As far as staying connected to God when it's busy, I guess it's the same thing, because if it's not on the schedule, then it's easy to kind of pass it up, and everyone kind of says, well, I'm busy. It's like, well, everybody's busy all the time.
Yeah.
But you have time for what you make time for.
Yeah.
So what about you?
So for the busyness and staying connected to God, there's something that happens every time I get in a season of busy where I will wake up super early in the morning. And it is like an hour to an hour and a half before my normal alarm goes off. And that's my time with God. And it never fails. It always happens during the busy time. Yeah. But when I'm not busy, it's like I can sleep until my alarm and not be bothered by it. So because I'll spend time, like after everyone leaves the house, I'll spend a little bit of time with God and then get ready for work and then leave.
Yeah.
But sometimes I don't get that. And so my body will be like, oh, it's time to get up, super early. And I'll look at the clock and be like, fine. So, but it is being intentional with my time. And then with us, it is the intentionality. Like I love that that's been so big for our marriage, to make sure that we spend time together outside of the kids, that we have a relationship outside of our children. That our marriage is not focused on the children,
the kids.
Yeah. And I don't know where we heard it, where it was like, you're married to your spouse and you will be with your spouse the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
Your children are going to leave. And if you don't know who your spouse is, or you don't
have a foundation with them,
yes, your children are going to leave and you're not going to know each other. Yeah. You're not going to be able to.
You'll be like co-eds or roommates. Yeah.
And there's so many marriages that you see destroyed from that, because the children leave. They don't know who their spouse is anymore because the children have been the spotlight for so long.
I wonder if that's why people fear empty nest syndrome, because they know that the kids are going to go away. And so they're kind of like worried about it because that's almost part of their identity.
Maybe.
I mean, I don't feel that way. I can't wait till they're gone.
I know that's how we
love
feel.
Them, but get out.
Well, and so many people, they're, oh, you're going to miss this noise and you're going to miss this. And it's like, I don't think you understand how much noise is in my house.
Yeah.
Like,
well, that's why I record at night.
Yeah.
Dude, your mic is awesome, dude. It changes color.
I told you, it's so pretty.
That's pretty dope. Mine's just
black. I tried to get you one like this.
It's fine. It's basic and boring like me.
Just get you one for your birthday or Father's Day.
No, let's not do that.
It's going to say like best dad ever.
So anyway.
Best cat dad. Anyways.
Difficult times.
Difficult times. Okay. I think that I feel like everything just goes back to being intentional.
Sure. Difficult
times, and this goes for when it's difficult between the two of us and difficult with outside influences. It's again being intentional with it and making sure that we're checking up on each other. Like, and it's a lot of taking whatever we're going through to God in prayer. Yeah. Like it is, I mean, even in the easy times, like we still cover things in prayer, but it is like we're dousing that in prayer. And I think that that's important for us in order to like stay connected. I know you're very big on conflict resolution. It's one of your favorite things. And I'm more like, let's not talk about it. But I feel like if we don't take the time to resolve issues, and bringing God into it, we end up building like a gap between us. Yeah.
I was gonna, and that was gonna be my point, was just that almost staying connected to God in the difficult times helps to help you stay connected to your spouse.
Yeah.
Because it can be easy, like if you're going through something difficult, to kind of not shudder, but to kind of like isolate, or to kind of shut down or withdraw. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So it's easy to kind of like withdraw, like, oh, let's talk about this. Let's work this out. Let's be on the same page. I want to help you. No, I need to go through this myself, And I think maybe sometimes you have to kind of step away, but just withdrawing and not allowing your spouse to kind of come up beside you can only make it worse. And then the enemy kind of attacks you in that, like, hey, you're all alone in this, nobody understands. You have nobody, even if your spouse is right there willing to help you. Withdrawing sometimes is like, the enemy will use that. So I think staying connected to God helps stay connected to your spouse, almost by extension. You still have to put in the work.
Yeah.
But I think that, that there's almost like this, it's like a mirror, right? If you're not connected to God, you're probably kind of distant from your spouse. Not necessarily, but, I tend to find that's more often the case. So
I think also, like, when we're going through something that we're struggling, like, between the two of us, like if we have a disagreement or something, asking God to show me your heart in the situation, like being able to be like, okay, God, I don't want to just look at it from my point of view. Like, help me see what he is seeing in this situation, has helped not put walls between us, because we're able to, like, okay, I see what you're going through.
Yeah.
Like, I get your point. I don't agree with it, but I get your point.
Yeah.
So I hope that made sense.
I guess there's a lot to the whole walking a mile in someone else's shoes.
Yeah.
Like, I probably wouldn't, because my shoes are too big.
Gosh.
And most people's shoes are smaller than mine. So, but,
I'm sure my flip-flops would be fine.
no, I'll probably destroy them.
Probably.
But, just having empathy for your spouse, and realizing, like, hey, this is probably why they're approaching. I mean, that's probably true for people in general. It's easy to kind of just judge if you don't know what's actually going on under the surface. And I think that we can kind of fall into that trap.
How do we incorporate prayer into our daily lives and decision making as a couple? And then why is this important?
I mean, daily.
I know
like
we do
about.
our morning prayer. That was something that the second day of the devotional, it asked if you pray with your spouse.
Yeah.
And that's something that I had, like, this long reply, and you were like, yes. I was like, okay.
Where there's a lot of words, sin is near. So.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I can never talk now. But as far as, like, our decision making, how do we incorporate prayer into that?
I think when it's the larger things we do, maybe for smaller things we're not always doing that. Okay. But kind of like with our thing that we're dealing with right now with the trip, it's like, okay, well, we're going to submit this in prayer and kind of see how God responds in it to give us direction on that. Yeah. So I think that it helps us to take a step back and not just make a rash decision, even if that decision isn't life or death, or it's not a good or bad decision per se. Like, it also just puts some space in there, because you're like, okay, I'm gonna submit this in prayer. And sometimes I'll go in expecting nothing, and then God will speak, usually in a way that I'm not expecting, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I guess God does care about that, because it seems like the insignificant stuff we might overlook, so we're not submitting every little thing in prayer. But the things that I feel like we don't have to make a decision right now, that's not like a major thing, it's not a big deal. So but I think for bigger things, like, it has definitely helped us to not make decisions out of emotion too.
Oh yeah.
So there's been times where you've kind of helped me, because I'll want to make a snap decision. Yeah. And you're like, no, we need to pray about this. I'm like, fine.
Fine. Fine.
Fine. So,
I'm going to throw you under the bus for a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you remember years ago going through something and not wanting to take it to God in prayer? Because you at the time felt like, well, other people are going through stuff, they can, like, God needs to hear like their prayers before my prayers. Like, do you remember being in that position? Because it's so different to see you now, and prayer is like such a huge part of your life now that you've wrote a book about it. So
are you talking about a specific event, or are you talking about in general?
I don't remember what you were going through at the time, but it was just one of those, like, it's like, will you just go and get prayer for that? Like, just go and ask someone to pray for you. And you were just like, nah, I'm good. There's other people that need prayer. And it's like, that is like, what?
I mean, I think it's a common trap that people fall into.
So many people have that mentality.
Like, oh, my thing is not big enough to get prayer about. But honestly, that's a sign of pride. And I've come to realize that, in having dealt with pride on multiple occasions. Like, I want to be anti-pride, so humble.
Yeah.
I'm so humbled that I just want to get prayer from 1,000 people. I'm just kidding. Oh
my gosh.
I'm not the most humble person I know. So it really just, I want to be not prideful. So I'm okay getting prayer most of the time, if it's required, because I just, I don't want to fall into that trap again. So, but I have been there. Yeah, for sure.
I was just wondering, like, do you have you ever noticed like the change that happened?
I don't think I ever looked at that aspect before. No. But now that you mention it, like, I can see it now. So.
And it's become like such an important part of our relationship that it's crazy to think like that was the mentality that we had. But we do all, I think people just tend to fall into that, because I mean, I know that I do with certain issues where I'm like, I don't need to go to pray with them. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm fine. So I appreciate you being so open to talk about this.
We're all human.
No, but it's so good. Like, this is such a good time.
Yeah.
Such a great time.
It's great for me.
So good.
Love being exposed.
That's weird. Do you have any final thoughts or questions for me?
No, I think this was good. I think maybe next time we'll have a little bit more structure.
Probably.
To the session, but it was good. I like it.
I like how we handled this one.
Yeah.
Good banter at the beginning. The road thing led into this. Right? No. What led into this? I don't remember.
Questions.
I don't know. Anyways, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. You want to pray and we'll close?
You want me to pray?
I don't mind. I'll pray.
You want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Go for it.
All right. Father God, we just thank you so much for this time that we get to spend together. And I just pray a blessing over anyone that's watching. And God, I just pray that people just hear words that you want them to hear. And I just appreciate you giving us this blessing of a marriage that we have, that we're able to just share this with other people. And we just praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I love you.
Hello.
So much.
All right.
Good.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. See you next time.
Yeah.
Go buy his book.
On Amazon. How to Pray Out Loud. Bye.